or not?
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our summer edition with Markus Porcher, who this time I hope the internet will be very friendly with us and collaborate right from the start. So we have Markus there. And well, it's good to start with us, so people can see us. Welcome, Markus, to this conversation about summer. We are continuing our journey about how can Chinese wisdom boost the coaching and mentoring practice. And I think it's going to be a very interesting one. And I'm looking forward to learn what Marcus is going to share with us. Marcus, how are you today?
So thank you, Alina, for the nice introduction again. I'm fine. Our son has been finally going through school. We had the celebration ball last week, so we are good to go with the summer period.
Hey, yay, congratulations. Summer period, indeed. I
Yes,
know
now we
that
need to
my son
relax.
also has finished, with his exams, and there was a sign of relief actually for him and for us when he finished with the tests and everything. It's like, we can relax now. Yes.
Yeah,
So,
it was a hard fight, hard work,
yes, fire, right?
and now we can earn what we
Yes,
have been planting.
indeed, indeed. So I'm wondering, in a good fashion, where should we start today? Maybe it is good to just recap a little bit, but not much, on the previous conversation, and then we're going to move into the topic today. What do you think?
Exactly, Alina. I think that's a good one. I don't know who has been on last time. At least let us recap. I think that's a good idea. And then we start with early and late summer.
Right. And I'm wondering if you want to also use the slides for the recap, or how would you like to go about?
Yes, I think we can use it so that people may recognize what we have been doing. We give them a little bit of structure for the 4 sessions. So today we have the second one. We started last time, and we have two additionally coming up
Okay, so
in October
I'm
and
going
in
to,
January.
yes, indeed. And then I'm going to bring in the beautiful slides that you have created. And we have them here. And this will help us recap. And let's see. Marcos. We, of course, we're not going to recap who you are because I think we have more details about you. Also into our presentation. What would you like to say on this topic? Who's Marcos?
No, I think the most important thing is really to give the team a kind of flavor. So I have been, so I'm currently living in Berlin. I have been moving around a lot of times, and beneath that, or besides that part, I have been working very long for a technology company in the HR department, and in that area, I have been always working with people, nationally, internationally, globally. And developing people was one of my favorite topics. So, but there was a time in 2012 and 13 where I thought, okay, I'm working in a high performance culture, always looking on results. And I was saying, okay, how can people are more can be more balanced? How can they build resilience? How important is getting maybe sometimes a little bit back to refresh your energies? So, and as I was a power person, I always was getting to my boundaries, and I started to learn the Chinese medicine. So I really started from scratch. I get into the philosophies, and I decided, okay, to learn that for 3 years. And that's something which now is accompanying me for more than 10 years, first in IBM and now in my own practice when working with people, really to look at a person from a holistic point of view. So this is really to combine the Western approach, the zero and the one, everybody knows that. And from an ancient perspective, we also have, yeah, we are looking into black and white. We see that in a minute. but anyhow, there is a more balanced, a more phases approach, a more movement, and this is something which I think it's very important, just to survive in our business environment and to build the power, but also to refresh ourselves. So, and this is something which I'm combining now with my people when I'm working with the people, and I found it a very powerful solution. So I'm very happy to share that with that community. I have been, I'm also a certified coach for sure. Yeah, and I'm using that approach as one approach. Working with the people and helps them to grow.
Well, thank you for that summary of Markus and that recap. We said that we're going to do this in the second session, but in the third, probably we know who Markus is.
Exactly. So next time, we don't
Yes,
do that.
and then I think we skip now. We're right on time. We have this big guy, so to speak. Tell us a little bit about him.
Yeah, when you're getting into the Chinese philosophy, then for sure you're getting into contact with the Tao Te Ching, which is beneath the Bible, one of the most popular books, definitely. And Lao Tzu, who was one of the promoters, I found it a very powerful also statement here. Yeah, he who knows others is wise, and he who knows himself is enlightened. So we always try to understand other people, but I think in order to be really successful is also to understand who we are. Yeah, what are we doing? Where do we want to go? So I think that's an important aspect. And I found this really a very, very powerful statement, which is now, giving me, the way I am going forward, and which is accompanying me in more or less each of the coaching sessions or mentoring sessions, also to give other people more insights into themselves and to reflect.
Well, that speaks to me as well. I think there's many quotes with Lao Tzu, to be very honest, especially from people who use this wisdom. And I like to call it wisdom rather than anything else, Taoist or anything, because it's more like general principles from that space. Um, then we have, of course, the concept of the yin and yang, which are well, I think at least visually, it's something that people know. You can see it in many places symbolically nowadays. If you talk about wellness or well-being, many times you will have the little stones, sit, one on top of the other, but you also have this symbol. And yeah, can you remind us?
Yeah, so definitely when you're looking into the Chinese philosophy, we are talking about energy. And this is what is shown here, it's the rising energy, which is shown as white, and also the energy which is going down or more, um, it's more reduced, it's a black part. So it's a very nice symbol also to show really the rising energy. Um, so we are talking about yang and yin. So yang is more the one which is related to the man. It's related to be dry, hot, and very active. Yeah, and the yin is more related to be reflective and going inside and to go deep. And what the sign is also telling us is that there's neither yin nor yang. Yeah, that's not really pure. So always when you have yang, there's the black dot you see in the white part. Yeah, so it's always saying that you have some female parts in you. And also when you are more on the female or dark side, you have already the light in yourself. So this is the combination of both. It's showing us a process. It's showing us that everything is in movement, that you have for at a certain point of time, for sure, a specific combination of yin and yang, but it's always in, like energy flows, when you are thinking about your thinking, and the energy goes where your thinking flows. So that's, I think, more a modern approach today, but that is really shown here. So giving you the opportunity that we are always able to change something, that we are always able to change our environment and to go forward. And what we have been talking last time about it is, if you have yang and yin, and if you want to try to translate it a little bit more into our modern world, it's really the yang part. It's more the action part, yeah, or the resting part. It's that the yang part where you're getting really out, where you're moving, and where you're getting exhausted. But it's very important that you need to have a break in order to get to the super compensation. It's something which especially the sports people are knowing, that you need, after a very intense training period or competition, that you need a refreshing period in order to get to the next level. And that's exactly what's shown here, yeah. And also something what we have said is the doing versus the being part. Doing is we are in action, but sometimes just to sit down, to relax, to be, is more on the dark side. And you also can relate it to your brain, yeah, the left brain and the right brain. And if you're looking into an organization or into our modern world, we are really normally associated to a high performance culture. Yeah, we are working very hard. We are getting into projects, and even before a project is ended, we are getting again into the new project. So sometimes there's not really time for reflection. And I think this yin part, to reflect after a project, after a specific year, is very important, to give yourself time to reflect and to build a kind of a learning culture in a company. It's very important. So this yang and yin can be really, even if it's more than 3 or 4 thousand years old, nearly, can be translated into our modern world and give us some kind of indication how we can take it in order to understand the world and ourselves better.
Yeah, thank you for that. I was also thinking, it was my birthday, and then on my birthday, I wanted to be into being, yes, to compensate the week before that was very much into doing, lots of things, yes, many appointments, children finishing school, and I felt tired. And everybody kept asking me, what is it that I want for my birthday? And I said, well, actually, what I want for my birthday is to stand still, be in nature, and receive the time that the other people, who are thinking of me, who are calling me. It's actually not combining the doing, the talking, to having guests and everything. I want to be here and receive.
Mm.
And that's what I've done. I was just in the garden and looking at the sky, slowing down, and then I drove the day in such a way. I finished it by walking in a park and just observing and feeling, what it was to be felt. And it was a very yin day of being, but to balance the doing. Now, of course, we know with one flower you don't make a spring. There's a Romanian saying. So it is also probably about quantity, but it is also very much about quality, I think, in this aspect. And this is not in the recap, it's just an addition to
Yeah,
it.
but that's good. And as you just said it, Alina, I think it's when are you getting your best ideas? So your best ideas you're getting when you're relaxing, when you're taking a shower. Sometimes you're getting, that's it. You're
When
not
you're
getting.
cooking, also because you need to slow down, pay attention to your fingers, also in the ingredients. Yes, driving also can be, because this is rather automated process. So especially after 20 years of driving, so then ideas can come there. There needs to be space, actually. It feels like something to emerge. There needs to be space into.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's continue the journey, and then we move to the five elements, which are, I would say, the anchor into the Chinese medicine and Chinese wisdom. So do
Yeah.
tell us a little bit more, because this brings us to the topic today.
Yeah, definitely. So, and so when we are talking about yin and yang, you see that there's a process, that are phases, that something is rising, that something is going up, and something which is going down. And this is exactly what we are seeing in the nature, you know. And that is what I've tried to put here a little bit, and what we have to give some ideas about the concept, that really everything is in a flow, you know. And if you're thinking about the season of spring, you know, something new is emerging. Yeah, we are talking a little bit more about the early summer and the late summer today.
Mm-hmm.
So it naturally develops really into summer and late summer, where you're getting where you are getting the fruits of your life and of your doing. And then by the way, in the autumn, you are getting into the first series of reflection. You are getting into looking into what has been good, what do you want to conserve, you know, what do you want to keep. So you are letting all the leaves falling down, because you need to get the most important things to survive the winter period, which is coming afterwards. So and this is also really this kind of national rhythm is also reflected in the energies. So
Mm-hmm.
the spring period is more related to outward, which means, oh, you're getting a lot of ideas. Yeah, that's something new. You're getting um, uh, out of the earth. You know, something new is growing, is showing up. In the fire period or in the summer period, something is really growing. We will see that. And more or less in the summer, you're getting into the transformation period, where you're making every day something better, you know, in your life. And when you're getting into the autumn period, where you're getting reflective, you're getting insight. Yeah, maybe you're doing that even in the evening, when you're doing some kind of meditation, you know, where you're getting your mind focusing on something which is important for you. And the winter months is more that the energy is going downwards. So this is really related to each other. And so you can also see, and maybe, am I allowed to give a little bit of outlook? If you're looking at a person, you can already see sometimes when you're meeting a person the first time. You know, think about your coaching or mentoring sessions, you're getting a new client. You just can see a person, how he's behaving, and you're getting a first indication, maybe if this is a young person, more an active person, or a yin person, you know, how he's sitting, how he's behaving, how he's talking, you know. So that's something what we are covering a little bit more in detail. But if you are able to apply that kind of concepts to your environment, you see always something, okay, what's happening there?
And I saw, a question coming in. Are we in the early summer now, or in the late summer? Where are we while we're talking about this journey or cycle?
Um, I think we are just in between the early and late summer.
Yeah, in the middle.
So we are just in the middle. Yeah,
So yes. And then you were talking about, I think this, and now we're actually getting to, right, what
exactly.
summer
Now we're
is.
getting into it. So what I said, okay, this is something which is moving really from one status to another, you know. And from a Chinese perspective, we are calling these, and now we are getting to the words, wood and fire, earth, metal, and water, because they were relating. Yeah, the five phases, which you can put nicely to the yin and yang sign. We are talking about wood, fire, earth, metal, and water. Um, and wood is really related more to the spring, where something is growing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
The young and the bright side is starting. It's a and the fire is the highest young, so it's really on top, you know. It's high noon. Um, it's where the sun is on the highest points. So, and if you refer to that from a really wood perspective, if you burn something, yeah, or in order to have fire, you need to burn something. So you need really the wood. And if you have burned something, you're getting ash, which is nourishing our earth. So if you are in the garden, I think you can imagine sometimes you are making a nice fire outside, and then you're using the ash even to use it to have nice flowers afterwards,
Yes.
to share that. And within the earth, you really have the pieces to make ore, then it's getting condensated, it's getting hard, and you're getting really the ores out of that one. And if that's condenses, you're getting the water. And water, on the other hand, is really needed in order to have flowers and trees growing. So you have really a circle where everything is nourishing the other person, you know. And this is a nice flow. And you can take that also to your own life. You can take it to the day, if you're looking from the morning to the evening, so that every phase has his own energy. As this is a kind of recap, now it's getting a little bit more complicated. So it was really the introduction, because
Yes.
when we are looking from a coach, and I refer to a coaching and mentoring practice, because we are not just looking into elements and this is stable, so we are talking about 5 elements, but I prefer to talk about the 5 phases, because these are influencing them each other. So if we are getting to the next page,
Yes.
I do the first.
Uh, I think that's the one. Yes.
Yes, I am doing. It's the first edition. It's getting a little bit more complicated, because in an overall system, so, or maybe let me go a step backwards. So I have said, okay, look, that we have 5 typical energies, and we find these kind of energies in our life. So from a personality perspective, we may have a feeling that we are more related to one or another. So normally you would say, okay, 1 or 2 of these kind of elements are something which you are seeing in yourself as a dominance. So, and if we are going now into that one, there's an they are influencing each other. So wood is not only nourishing the fire, but it also helps, for example, the earth. And now think about a soil which is very hard, or a mountain or something like that you really need the wood in order to make it more open, for new ideas. So if you have a person sitting at home who is a little bit more relaxing, sitting at home, don't want to go outside, you may need to have some kind of wood who is helping to give a push to someone else, in order to move forward. And this is what it's relating here, that if you're looking into that from a controlling or stabilizing perspective, that if something is too strong or too low, that these elements each other are influencing itself, that they are controlling the other one, so that the overall system is getting in a kind of balance.
In the balance, yes. And I think, yeah, you wanted to keep this image when we were talking about how you go through all of it and use the personal examples.
That's only the first one, because there's an arrow in one direction. Now you can think about that the arrow is going into the other direction. So for
Yes.
this time, we are really talking
Yes.
about that one, how this system is influencing and trying to balance itself. So you yourself as a person also, if you're feeling that you are, and I think your example has been very nice, that if you have been really in a powerful session, that you have been doing a lot, then you need to think, okay, how you can um, restrict yourself. So if you have a lot of ideas, just take it as an example, then maybe you are getting to a point where you're saying, okay, now I take the metal, and you can refer metal to an axe or something like that, who is maybe cutting down the flowers a little bit, or the trees, and saying, okay, look, you cannot follow every idea. You cannot do all at the same time. Now we need to concentrate on something. So the metal, yeah, is controlling your wood, that this is not really getting too heavy, yeah, and trying to control you.
Right. So it's like a filter, right? So you need to make a choice. The metal is there to tell you need to make a choice.
Metal is helping you, yeah, to keep your system in balance.
Hmm.
Yeah, in that kind, if you have too many ideas, if you have too much fire, you know what's happening. If you have too much fire, then you need the water just to maybe be careful that the fire is not getting too high. Yeah. And if you
Right.
have too much water, if you are living, I think, near to the coast, to the sea, and
Yes.
now
Which I am.
if you
Yes,
have
I
a
am.
problem with water coming in, you need to have the earth just to control the water, that this is not getting into the land. So you can take even these kind of pictures, how the system itself controls itself with the elements.
Yeah, I mean, I think with that image you left me, because me being in Netherlands indeed, and being close by to the coast, we have the polder system and everything. And you're right, it is raining and everything. So yeah, lots of water here in many shapes or forms. And then indeed you do need the dunes, and you need more earth, to balance it, because yeah, otherwise everything it's too fluid, and that's also not balanced either.
Mhm. I could imagine that this was not an easy one at that moment in time. It's getting more clear after our 4 sessions, I believe. So I hope that everyone who is joining today is curious enough to join the next sessions.
Of course, and then there will be clarity. But then we did say that we want to use personal examples, or examples from our life, to kind of, that's why I was thinking that if we take stories, and then we can go through them, so to make it more concrete, or make a parallel of what how we run into this circle. Is this a good time or not?
Yeah. So if you have do you want to share?
Yes, I think when we were in the conversation that preceded the meeting today, naturally I was telling Marcus about an example that happened to me. Obviously, a summer brings vacation. Funny enough, summer sun, that's very young, lots of action, where you say fire. But it's also very interesting because you're planning vacations, which vacation means that it's more rest, or well, it's about recharging and all of it. And for me it was, well, we should go and visit parents, and go to Romania. And it was, we managed to book the plane tickets. And the day after they canceled the flights, which left us into, well, for me a little bit like moving like this, because I was like, and it's generated a lot of like, what are we going to do, what are we going to do, because option A didn't function, so now we need to generate B, C, D, so are we going, how are we going, what's going to happen if we're not going, and then who's managing what. Obviously there's expectations on some sides, my expectations, the parents expectation, children that want to see grandparents, and I won't lie, I think for about 2 3 weeks I felt like a heavy burden, to be very honest, and there were lots of things flying into my head. And one day, I pinned it down and I said, okay, let me try and search other options. And other options meant flights from, we'll be going to France, and I said, let me expand. Yeah, because before I looked only around Netherlands, but let me expand. What if I search for flights, to my hometown from along the way? And I started to look in France, in Switzerland, in Belgium. I looked in Italy. I said, we just leave the car and we fly, in the effort of finding a cheaper flight, actually, because an affordable flight, to be very honest, because to pay 500 per ticket, I think it's quite a big amount. And it's a choice, of course, but you need to balance again our vacation, the time for us, because when you go home, yes, you go to visit parents and you do all of this wonderful thing, but it's a bit of a marathon as well. And of course there's cost involved. And so I've tried everything. I looked and generated ideas, only to come to an end. I've talked to my husband and I said, look, despite my best efforts, actually I couldn't find anything that is affordable. We already invested about 700 originally in tickets, and with the situation now in the airports and everything, I think it's unrealistic, and it's a lot amount of money, and I think I need to face the fact, or we need to face the fact that this is not going to happen this summer, because and once I took that decision, and of course I've informed all of the parties that, by the way, I informed previously, yay, we got the tickets, we're coming home from 3 to 13. Then I think I was like, we don't have the tickets anymore and we're not coming home. And but once I did that process, looked at everything, and you know um internalized the fact that it is what it is. I had a choice. I could resist it and fight it, and I did for about 3 weeks, and it left me without energy or moving forward on other plans, because
Mm-hmm.
there was a dependency. And um and then when I took the decision, I relaxed. I said, and after I've informed everybody, I said, this is what's happening, we need to make another plan. And it came acceptance, and once acceptance came, I could breathe. And yeah that then I was able to do something else and plan the rest of the vacation. And yeah.
It's a wonderful example. Thank you for sharing that, Alina. So we really had the whole process here, more or less, yeah, with generating ideas as a wood phase. Then you needed to communicate to a lot of people, definitely. And fire is more or less that you have to communicate. We will see that in a second when we are digging deeper into fire and earth. So you needed to talk to a lot of people. You needed to use your negotiation skills, because I think a lot of people has been very maybe sad that you are not coming. So it was a diplomacy of the earth sphere, of the earth, and metal and water, really to reflect, okay, what has happening, what you can do better in the next time, and getting into the reflection, and to say, okay, what are you doing maybe next time a little bit different? Yeah, is there any other options? But anyhow, now I hope that you anyhow have a very good summertime.
Yes. Well, yes, I think there's still 2 weeks that we need to plan, but yeah, they're going to flow. I think water is going to help there. I have this belief. Maybe it's because there was too much fire and too much doing, and there's also like, we'll see what is going to happen. And I think we'll be with the last minutes. When you go with last minutes, you pretty much, it's a melting pot, and then you say, this is where we're going, right? Rather than putting the time, making a plan, investing, also accepting the fact that yeah, apparently this summer plans don't go well. You just need to flow a little bit.
Definitely. So even our flight has been cancelled from Berlin. We wanted to go on vacation as well. No. Now we needed to reschedule or to replan, and now we are going to south of Germany to fly from Nuremberg. I don't know whether you know the city, but yeah. So yeah, it's happening, and we need to pack.
Rescheduling.
Huh?
Rescheduling, replanning.
Exactly. So we need to be open. We cannot sit there and say, "Oh, why is this happening to me? Oh, what's going on now?" So
You can, but it's not going to take you very far, but you can.
yeah.
So I'll move to the fire.
Yeah, so now you have. I hope that everybody has a good overview. Next time we don't do that. We're digging more or less directly, more or less into the elements next time. So what is the fire element? So we have seen it already. It's called the early summer. Yeah, it's related to the maximum of growth. So in terms of really showing who yourself are, it's going outward. The energy is going upward. really. And it's related. If you relate it to your life, it's a joy period. It's where you are young, where you are not, where you do not have any anxious because you're saying, hey, everything will be going good. So it could be also happening for a fire person that they are a little bit um, too careless about their life. Yeah,
Yes.
it's related to the color of red, and for sure, what are you doing when you are young? You're talking a lot, yeah. You're talking a lot. Even when my kids are coming home, I think they have just met their girlfriends or friends, and then they are having their mobile phones and just talking again to them. So it's a period where you really need to speak out what you're feeling, what your feelings are, and it's also a period of where you are a lot of where you are laughing. So it's really a period of joy and laughing. It's, if you relate it to the summer where you're outside, where you make a party outside, where you are in the garden, where you are making a barbecue, yeah, where you're getting a lot of people together. So it's all this atmosphere where you're feeling
Of
also.
exchange, right? And co-creation, I would say, because you build the moment together, but there is an exchange of energy there, and it's flowing, and it's very social, right? You have more light, and
Yeah,
that invites, let's come together, let's do things, let's be outside and share something, share food, share talk, share walk, just share, and be together.
yeah. And if you're thinking about maybe your coaching or mentoring sessions, just to give an example, you can you can immediately see a person who is a fire person because that person is not stopping talking. So you will get a problem to say, hey, stop down. Yeah, or wait a minute, yeah, because they are telling you everything about what's just happening on the way to your to your office, about the last story, what has happening this morning. So they are really the persons who have the tongue, and the tongue is also something which is related to the fire element. Um, really who are very going outward, and people who are very energetic. So, and sometimes it could help, you can remember what we have said earlier, who is controlling the fire. So it would be good to give that person not a coffee, because then, yeah, because then they are getting much more into their energy, but maybe to give them some kind of cold water, so no, just to cool them down and to say, okay, relax. They are also so, and if you are young, the people who are walking more maybe in a dancing mood, so it's really very, how do you call it? Yeah, very easy. It's easiness, I think, in your life. It's a
Oh,
time where you're getting, so so when you're moving from a spring period into the fire period. In spring you have the ideas, and in the fire period you're getting ideas how to bring that into life. So you want to show something. Yeah, and so the energy is really rising. You see that from a fire perspective, and you can imagine the more fire, the more wood you are putting into the fire, the higher the fire will be, and the energy is really turning up. And when I was thinking about where I can maybe find a good picture, which is also relating to the fire, yeah, it's people who have um, it's people who have the wood under their feet. So normally, artists, people in a theater, uh, singer, these are the people who really have the power to make a kind of performance. And help me, I think the song is Lama Me from the Romanian WRS person. I don't know. I hope that we have a lot of Romanian people here. I'm normally not looking the Eurovision song context, but at least that was really a nice picture, which is really indicating what the fire is. He was doing a great performance. It's a typical summer song. I think that person has a lot of charisma and desire. Yeah, a lot of creative potential. You see the fire in the back. It's dancing. So if you remember just one thing from that session, it's maybe lama me with WRS, just to give you a feeling about, okay, what is the fire about? Is
But
there
it's
anyone
funny
who?
enough because Yamame, it's actually in Spanish, and that was a bit interesting for me to see because they were not singing in Romanian. But now I connect what you were saying with the song, but it is a fiery song, and they're just saying "call me," But as you were saying, it's the tongue, it's the speaking, "call me" so we can talk. So it is again the fire element in action. So let's engage, let's talk together. Yeah, that's a nice example.
Yeah. So
Um,
so just to give you now I just want to give an additional idea here. So I think this is a fire person on a fire stage, you know. So I think typical double fire or whatever. You may also have someone on a stage who is standing there, not moving and speaking very silently. So that is typically more a researcher or a scientist, you know. So you not every performer or artist need to be a fire person itself. So I think he is a fire person, but if you are maybe relating someone who is making a speech or something like that, it could be also a water person or something else. So it's always that you need to relate it to what is he doing. Okay, he is doing a kind of fire. He's speaking. He's sharing ideas. He's bringing out. He's yeah. But maybe the person itself, it's a different type of personality. Yeah,
right. And then you had some nice you talked a little bit about this because it's about becoming an adult, and you're mentioning, when you have lots of energy and you're actually connecting and you have friends and you search for your sense of belonging, right? And your tribe, and you're interested in having friends and trying, maybe you're going to university, and then you join the parties and you meet lots of people until you find who's your tribe, who are your friends. But it's a trial and error and a testing, and everybody's in a testing period. I think you're going for two things: you're going for friends and for your partner, and that is happening for a number of years, right? From, I don't know, from the 16 18th, until the 25, maybe you're in this fire stage in life, and you keep on going with lots of energy. You can be on 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours. You can party in the evening and then go to work. Oh my God, yes, that's something
yeah.
for us that it's like behind.
You don't need a break, I think, when you have been young.
Exactly. So, but you can do that because you have a lot of fire in that period. And of course, not everybody is the same, because I think I remember some of my colleagues who were rather, maybe water, or earth, or things like that, and they wouldn't necessarily join the parties. But the people that actually come together and they go for concerts, that's another good example. You go for concerts and you need that and exhilaration, and you search that. Probably if we would run like a sort of an assessment, you would see that there's a lot of fire people that need this coming together and creating the energy, and being drawn to that vibrancy.
Yeah. And we are talking when we are looking into the Chinese medicine or Chinese philosophy here. Um, so we all, as people or human beings, we have more or less all of the elements in us. And I mentioned earlier, okay, we have maybe a tendency to one or two, which are mainly within us. But and we are also looking into the Chinese perspective from an energy perspective. Okay, there needs to be a kind of a balance. So if fire is missing, you may be a sad person, So you are maybe to getting that to someone who is joking, yeah. So to get that kind of energy. On the other hand, if you have too much fire, maybe you even know someone in your family or so who can turn out to be a drama queen, so to make a fuss out of everything, so if you have really too much fire, it's also not good. So it's always to say, okay, it's a balance. If you're saying, okay, if you are young, you can be out making party, but when you're getting older, maybe you need to be more in balance, because it's otherwise you're exhausting your energies really.
Yes. And I think I just took a peek, and next to the fire, because that which was on early summer, and maybe to put it, I think early summer, is it towards the end of May and beginning of June, or where would you place the early summer?
Now it's getting a little bit.
Just like an orientation, not in detail, or but because now we are in the middle, as you said, it's July, it's 5th of July. So I think in my mind early summer is really like beginning, like June, beginning of June, the end of May. And now in July, we're in the middle, and then we are transitioning right towards August, which is probably going to be the late summer, right? And which comes with a different element out of that wonderful circle that you said, and that is the earth element, which is more present in August. And I already see some images where we have crops, and there's a lot of gathering, from the abundance of the earth, which starts in August and continues actually through the autumn, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So you put it nicely. You are young. You are making your final examination at school. Then you are going to study, and then you are starting to become a parent. Then you are getting children. Then you are going working for 20 years. So that is really the transformation phase, which is related to the earth, because the high energy begins to cool down and you're starting to transform everything into something meaningful. And this is really what it's meant. Okay, becoming an adult, getting into the earth phase, or here, okay, now we are getting something nice out of the nature. It's really related to the transformation of the grounds of you have been bringing. You have decided, okay, I want to do that. This is the way forward. And now you're trying to transform that every day more or less to a really nice result. Um, and the earth definitely, yeah, is related to the color yellow or orange. Yeah. Maybe some of the people know the yellow emperor, so that's, yeah, related to the yellow emperor. That's the reason why that is called the yellow, because it's China is um, the country of the middle. So it's also related to your stomach, more or less, where all the transformation of your energy more or less happening, where you're getting all your energy from together with, for sure, when you're breathing. And from an earth perspective, although it's related to the mother. So we are saying Mother Earth, but it's also related to the mother. It's someone where you are always able to go to. She has a nice kitchen. Typically, these persons are cooking. They love to be at home. They love to take care of everyone in the family. They try to make sure that everything is working fine. It's typically the person who is running an organization, the so-called operational people in a company, making sure that everything is working according to the rules and regulation, so that an output can be achieved. Yeah, some people maybe say, "Oh, this is a boring person," because that person is doing every day the same. Yeah, but definitely this is the person who really make it work. Yeah. So, in order to get an outcome, and even you could argue, okay, this is not as powerful as a young person, it's more calming down a little bit. Yeah, and yeah, I think you have mentioned it earlier with your story when your flight has been canceled, that you needed to be diplomatic to tell everyone, okay, unfortunately, that is not working. Now you needed to think about, okay, how to tell it to the people so that everybody can accept it. And typically an earth person could be someone who is also doing a kind of a diplomatic work, because he is good in negotiation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
Hence
yeah.
the mouth.
Hmm?
But hence the mouth, but it's not the talking. You do use the mouth, but it's in a different way. I think it
It's
combines
more
a bit.
about
Yeah.
eating and being the starting point for so in the mouth it already starts that you're having a taste, because you can think that if you put something in your mouth and you're saying, okay, so it's not good, you're spitting it off. So it's already belonging also together.
Right. Well, that it sounds very interesting, and I couldn't help noticing that we have the colors of the summer with us, because you have the
Yeah, so the
red and
late
the
summer is
fire,
really, huh? Sorry?
and I got the yellow from the earth. So then we're yeah, it's a symbol. We are navigating, and actually, you see, I have also a red couch. So I have a lot of red. Now that you're saying, I have a lot of red, but I also have the earth. I think when you the way you've described, I like to bring people through food. So probably that's to anchor them a lot. And yeah, as you said, I don't think there's a person that has only one or the other. So it's a combination of fire and earth. Yeah, which can be quite interesting and food for thought for
What I
me.
think is also maybe what is also important is really that the earth is something where the harmony is coming from, you know? Yeah, yeah. So it's really trying to balance everything. If you have a conflict in your family, yeah, the earth more or less, it's as I said with the diplomatic piece, that person loves harmony. And sometimes it's difficult for that person to say no and to build a kind of a boundary, and to say, okay, now that's now enough. No, this so far, but no step further. So this is important when we're thinking about the earth part. Um, yeah, I think just
Yeah,
I
I
want.
can see how this would work in coaching and mentoring, because when you said that, so it is harmony. Yeah, but it is, yeah, wanting to bring or connect things together, but that is something's got to give, and then indeed where what needs to give and where do we stop and what is the boundary. That is a challenge always, how to marry everything so you get a harmonious way. I think listening is quite important. But yeah, when you say this harmony, there's interesting. I done a workshop or reflection space about balance and harmony. Are they the
Mhm.
same? And they're not. And for me, I was reflecting on that, and I said, well, maybe the balance takes you to harmony. So I mean, I'm not sure if you can have harmony without a balance, or if harmony exists in unbalance, right? So the balance is the process to do all those parts, whether they're five or two, whether you use yin and yang or the five elements. It's a balance, but what creates, once you get into the balance, what generates, it's a state of harmony, because you're
Mm.
maintaining. So for me, the balance is dynamic, is that act of um yeah, weighing and kind of figuring out, evaluating, I need to pull this one, I need to pull it up or down. And then at the end, the result, once you're in balance, the state is a harmony state.
Yeah. And I think you're mentioning, and I can refer it to your story from, yeah, that you finally make a decision. Do you look further for other flights, or do you say, okay, now that's the situation now, and it's important that, or what could be happening? So as said, yeah, too much Earth energy means you're always thinking, overthinking something. You're not getting to an end. These are the people who are not able to make a point. Yeah, they are talking in circles and circles, and they are starting again from the beginning. And what is happening, they have exactly the problem to get into the metal phase, because in the metal phase, you're making a kind of reflection and you're saying, okay, now I have looked at 20 options and now I need to make a decision. So, and when you're saying, okay, and if you have that also in a team, or for example, yeah, if there's not a manager or a CEO who is deciding which is now important, yeah, what you're doing next, if you're not making that kind of decision, you're not moving on. And this is what I found very powerful. If you relate it more or less to to that kind of natural movement, people understand it normally very good, because okay, stop now. We need to make a priority list or whatever we find decision criteria or whatever, yeah, just to make a decision and to move on in the cycle. And then you can further on in the water phase, you can reflect and to say, okay, what was good? Maybe do we need to learn something new? And then you can start the cycle again. Yeah. But if you're not able to stop thinking, you're overthinking and you are not in balance anymore.
Yes. Well, it sent me on a path of reflection, actually, listening to you. I do realize that we are 57 minutes into a conversation. Oh my God, where did the time fly? And I know we kind of aimed, and, there's not a hard stop. But I see here that I think you brought this. A cycle which I keep repeating. I think this is our red line through all of our conversations, these five elements. And how do you apply the five elements into, you know having a flight cancel or booking your vacation, or in a coaching practice, but also in the teams. And I think this is a little bit about the teams, right?
Exactly. So when I'm trying here to give an overview again. Always when you're getting too much into a detail of an element, you need to have the big picture. So what I thought it could be helpful here is really to say, okay, how you now can take the five elements and the main energies in order to look what you can do next in your process, in your life, in your activities, in your work, in your project. So it's really, if you're starting something new, it's a curiosity that you need to be that you need to look into something. Then you need to take the leadership. You need to go out. You need to tell everybody about your idea in order to make it happen. Then you need the team to get it done. And as said in the example before, the CEO normally decides on the core competencies, what is important. What do you want to keep for yourself? We also could say, look, we are talking next time about the metal. So I don't want to
Yes.
give too much insights now, but it's really to say, okay, who, who are you, It's a core competency. What is really your specific doing? So I think it will be a very, very interesting session next time, yeah, where we are getting really into how we can decide, okay, who we are. And then for sure, it's that you're positioning yourself new, because at the end of a cycle, and that's a nice one, you're not just dying, because when you're dying, it's just the starting point for the next cycle. So it's moving on. It's that you can reposition yourself every morning. You have a new opportunity to make a new choice and to say, okay, today I'm changing my life. Today I'm doing something different. Yeah, so you can do every evening a reposition, what has been good, what has been not good, what I want to do differently on the next day, and then you can start your next day. So it's really a cycle, it's a movement, and that's what I think is helpful.
Yeah, it makes me think of a spiral, right? So it's a spiral, it's not a circle, because it's a
Yeah, it's a
spiral,
spiral
actually.
because we want to grow, so it's going upward.
Exactly. So it's a building up spiral rather than a circle which takes you in the same point, and then it's like 360, and nothing has changed. No, it's a spiral because you're actually moving up a little bit usually, or down. That can happen as well, but you're in a spiral.
We are
um
yeah.
yeah. So I think we kind of referred to, right? Because it was about would you like to learn anything else? I think we kind of tried to use the five elements throughout but our anchors today were um, the fire and the earth. And we have to say it's very interesting. Five elements, four seasons. And so summer is that way, well, special, that it has actually two elements. It starts with the fire and then it goes into the earth, because the other seasons, they kind of center around one element.
Yeah, that's the reason why they made five uh, periods, so the Chinese people.
Yes. Well, I also think we've discussed a little bit about that, but I'm wondering if you want to add anything here.
No,
I
what
see
I would
here.
like,
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
my only point would be, because everybody I think who is listening here is interested in developing themselves or in developing people or organizations. So what I found really powerful is how you can use this kind of natural process in your coaching process. You have a starting point. Your client is calling your first client. You're getting to know each other. Then you're getting into the transformation process to work on a specific topic. By the end, you're looking into what has been good and what you're doing maybe next time differently. You can take that in an overall process from getting to know a client until he's finishing your coaching process. You can put it as a coaching process for the day, for the coaching session. What's the topic for today? What do we want to focus on? You're talking, elaborating a little bit, then you're doing the hard work, the transformation. Yeah, but you need to get to a point where you say, okay, what have you learned today? What are you reflecting? What are you taking with you? And what are you going to change? So I think this is really very, very helpful also, just to think about it maybe in a slightly different way and to use it for your mentoring and coaching practice.
And like all the models, because I'm certain, if there are, whether there are HR people or coaches, or mentors, we have multiple models there that are to be used. And this is also another model of looking at life, but this come, I would say, from 3 4 thousand years of just observing nature, connecting to nature. It's a different way. I find that that's the beauty of it. And yeah, there's a lot of observation and a lot of like a lifetime trying, I think.
Yeah,
This is kind of, it's emerged, and it's a connection with nature, and it is referring to us as uh, whole, rather than only the mind and all of it. And many models refer and activate most of the times the mind and the heart, but this brings everything in at play. And that's why you and I both like very much this Chinese wisdom, and it's something to be explored for anyone who wants to approach things integrative or holistically.
yeah, exactly. And what I'm doing next time, Alina, if you're okay, then we
Yes.
are putting together an overview. Also next time we are not only talking about the metal phase, the next one, and the core competencies and to which is relating, but what I also would like to do, to give an overview about all the phases in terms of how a person is looking, how you can indicate maybe, in terms of how the person is speaking, how a person is sitting, walking, because these are giving you already indications, to which potentially to which kind of element this person is belonging. Yeah. So next time we are giving a kind of overview therefore, and we hope that a
Like a
lot of
map,
people are going
right?
to join. Huh?
Yeah, so I think it's going to be a sort of a map, right? So we map our way around, and then it's going to help us figure out quite fast, kind of what is the element that is at play there. And of course, we can see multiple elements in one person, but there will be one that is dominant, at least in a day, if not throughout, the sessions. And it is important to look this, because we said the cycle and the spiral. You have the day, and then you have the 2 sessions, the 3 sessions, the entire track, then you have the person. I think that's the beauty of the cycles, right? It's and also the circles, the concentrical circles, with the putting it at the more levels. Yes.
And if someone has a question, because when you are seeing later on that this is a fire person, as we have discussed it today, maybe someone knows a person and where he has a challenge how to balance that kind of fire in that person, to get in 60 minutes to a result of the discussion, and not to have 55 minutes talking about the life of that person and then 5 minutes coaching or mentoring session. So if there's someone who has a question how to work with a person, or any specific question, how to influence then the other person. I don't know, does it, people who are watching have an opportunity to send you questions,
Of
ideas to
course,
us,
they
or what
always
we can
can.
cover?
Yeah,
Okay,
they always can. And of course, we can always invite them to come with questions. It can be something that when we are going to talk about this event, we can say, hey, do you have questions about this aspect? And we can include it there. Bring your questions.
exactly. So that would be nice, when we are turning towards the end, maybe not in the next phase, but in January. But if anyone has a question, I would like to invite them to ask a question, yeah, or send it in before, then we can cover that as well. So
Well, I guess that's kind of it for us for today. I'm going to say that I'm taking a lot. It's food for thought in a lot of aspects. It's been a journey. We recapped today about the spring, and we started with the wood element, which goes with the spring. And today we journeyed through early and late summer. So the early summer, it comes with fire element, and the late summer, more towards August, comes with the earth. And the next session is going to be in autumn on 4th of October. It's already scheduled. And then we're going to look at the metal, which is kind of the filter or bringing things in, and helping to focus. And also, it looks like you're going to give us a little bit of a map. And yeah, we're going to finish gloriously our journey in January, after we finished all of the elements. And of course, if you have any questions, do let us know. Write in the comments on LinkedIn or on Facebook, and or bring them with you into the next session. I know it's a topic that it's not that often, encountered, but I actually met or talk to people that are very interested in how this topic of Chinese wisdom and Chinese medicine marries with coaching and mentoring. Marcus, how are you feeling? What are you taking? What are the last things that you want to say? 3 things.
enjoy the summer.
That's a very good
Um,
summary.
don't don't become frustrated if your flights are cancelled. Keep your joy. Um, don't overthink something, but make decisions and be in the flow.
Fantastic. Thank you. That summarizes our journey through elements, I would say. So, thank you all for whoever is going to watch. Also, afterwards, we know it's summer. Everybody needs to finish stuff. People might be in vacation or preparing for vacation, which means usually a lot of work. So, have a wonderful summer, and we see each other in autumn. And yeah, have an awesome summer, Marcus. A
Thank you very much.
balanced summer, but a balanced and harmonious summer.
Ah, now yeah, exactly.
Thank you. Thank you for today.
Yellow and red clothes.